So I just encourage you to make an intentional, strategic, multi-generational. Everybody say multi-generational. Make a multi-generational decision about obeying God to receive the blessings. This is part of our mission statement, is to make and train followers of Jesus Christ and build strong families. And build strong families. And so there are times where I'll tell Jonathan, for example, bruh, if you can catch what was on your granddad's and what's on your dad, if you can catch it, watch out. But it doesn't stop there. Then I say, listen, if you teach your children to catch what was on their great granddad and their granddad and what's on you, watch out. And if you teach them to teach their children to take what was on their great great granddad and on their great granddad and on their granddad and on their dad, if they catch it, and then if they teach their children and they teach their grandchildren, they teach their grandchildren, 1,000 generations will see the goodness of God. But you have to be intentional about communicating the multi-generational blessing of God. We have to be intentional about that. Because if we don't, guess what works the same way? The curse. So we got to be intentional about that and teaching our family and our children. If we obey the voice of the Lord and we do what God says, all these blessings will come on you and will overtake you. That's God's plan. That's God's desire. That's his heart. That's what it is for Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, 12 patriarchs, still going today because he's a God of multiple generations. You know, I don't want to sound carnal, but you get to a point that, something practical, that your family, it can be strange for your children and your grandchildren to ever know what a mortgage is. It's possible for somebody to see, you need a mortgage. Mortgage, what's that? It's possible for your children, your grandchildren to be like, a car loan? Why would I need a car loan? That's dumb. I'm not being carnal. I'm just showing you what happens from generation to generation as we walk in the blessing. That is just like, you don't have to live that way. You don't have to do that. It's possible for your children and grandchildren to, it's like fornication. What's that? Come on. What is that? Alcoholism. Never heard of it. Because God did something in my grandparents and my parents that I just never saw it. They lived in such a degree of victory, I never saw the curse. Arguing, what's that? How do you fight as a husband and wife? Never saw it. Never saw dad sleep on the couch. Never saw him get put out of the house. It's just some things I never saw that because something is being passed down. The goodness of God is being passed down from generation to generation. For your grandchildren potentially can say, you know what? It's easy to slay giants. It's possible for our children and grandchildren to say, man, giant killing is a piece of cake. You see it with the guys that were around David. It seemed like a big deal for David to kill Goliath. You read the Bible, not too long after that, everybody was slaying giants. Because David broke the mold. Come on. He stepped out by faith to do something that hadn't been done, something that was impossible. And get this, it became normal. That giant killing was a culture after David slayed Goliath. It was just normal. So now you got any old body it's like, you haven't killed any giants? You haven't, what's wrong with you? You haven't killed any giants? Are you hearing me? Yes. But this is how the goodness of God and how the blessing of God works when it comes on us and overtakes us, and we continue to walk in the multi-generational blessing of God. It's why we teach our men, in men's ministry, identity, character, calling, destiny, legacy, dynasty. And we're not just teaching our men to stop with our legacy that we leave in the earth. That's number 5 on the list. But there's something even greater than me leaving my legacy in my own lifetime, which is important. That multi-generational blessing that I talked about creates a dynasty. That multiple generations consistently are operating in the blessing of the Lord. And so we're raising our faith to get beyond just destiny in terms of where I end my life, or even legacy in terms of the impact that I leave when I go to be with the Lord. But I want to see a dynasty now that multiple generations are walking in the cumulative blessing and goodness of God. But we got to be intentional about that.